Après la pause, une rencontre avec 3 militantes obèses et un animateur légèrement enveloppé. Vous êtes tanné des accommodements, vous n'avez rien entendu. Aux États-Unis, les gros se regroupent pour exiger des places plus larges dans les avions puis les cinémas. Oui, ils demandent des accommodements, mais sur une base pas religieuse, mais adipeuse. On a parlé avec trois New-Yorkaises horizontalement différentes. Janie, Deb, and Kathleen, hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Sharpshooters. You all have something in common. You're all women, of course. And you're, how can I say it, overweight, fat? Can we use the word fat? Is it like derogative or is it like
well, I think it depends on your intention. So as a descriptor, for me, I prefer fat. If you're going to fling it as a rude comment, then maybe, prefer maybe you keep it to yourself. So for me, fat is, and there's a little bit of a reclaiming of a negative word.
What about you, Janie? Is that the word that you prefer? Or?
Absolutely, yes. I found that in my accepting of myself in my position in this world and in society, I find that fat generally garners, again, like a badge of pride. It's like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think there's no need for euphemisms. We're sharpshooters, right? It is what it is, I think is well said. And unlike the words like obese or overweight, which imply some kind of medical standard, this one is not medicalized, and that's what I like about it.
Some people would say it's because you're lazy. I mean, change the way you eat, go to the gym, and that's it. You'll get rid of it.
As a person who's spent a lifetime of dieting, my body's only gotten fatter. If diets worked, there would, be a lot smaller people.
So you tried?
Sure, absolutely. And what it created was a constant sense of being at battle with my own body. And it's very hard to live that way, I would say, in that sense of being displaced from your own being, from your own body, and being at war with yourself. What I would rather do is think about how I feel in my body, and do things that make it feel better, and whether that means like going to the gym and working out, but it also means doing things like not dieting, doing things like, changing my kind of belief system about fat and what it means.
Janie, some people might say, this lady lost total control of her life. I mean,
I'm in total control of my life. And I think that growing up fat informs you immediately on the cruelty of humanity. If we stop hating ourselves and stop judging ourselves on standards that are imposed in a society that doesn't see reality but presents something highly glossed and ideal.
Can we be overweight and healthy? I mean, it's a sign of bad health.
No, you can't tell what a fat person's health status is simply by looking at their body. And to make the presumption that fat people are healthy, or unhealthy across the board is just really plain wrong and problematic.
Bosses don't want to hire fat people because they think they're lazy. I mean, it's a prejudice that goes around. You know about this.
I think that fat people as a category or as a group has a lot working against them, whereas other groups, the recognition of prejudice, there's not an entire medical community oftentimes lumping them together and grouping and saying, you're, death fat, obese, you're going to die tomorrow, and the medical science doesn't back them up, but there's a lot of lip service being paid to this, like, the obesity epidemic.
There's a kind of hypocrisy when you walk down the streets, and mostly in the United States, you see a lot of fat people, and you watch TV and they're all thin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not reality.
As a young person, I don't think I could have imagined being fat and having an incredible life. Like, I was always told, you'd never be loved and you wouldn't be successful and things like this from, you know, people who supposedly loved me, you know, who do love me. But, you know, those were the messages that I think we were all told because there's this sense of having to police our bodies, you know, that we had to fit into a certain level of conformity. So it's just this high pressure conformity that's happening because what, you know, everybody says kind of, God forbid, what happens if we let fat people be fat?
What's this thing about fat acceptance? Like, I'm an alcoholic, so I'll, you know, drunk, accept me like I am. You know, I'll fall off my chair, I'll barf everywhere, and you know, I'll drink in the morning, and I accept that I'm drunk. You know, it changed the way of living. That's it.
Yeah, but there's certain things you can quit. I mean, can you quit eating? Are you going to give that up? Can you walk away from it and say, oh, these are the 12 steps I'm going to take to get away from eating, and thank you, I'll just go and die here happily. Sorry to have bothered you. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Just going to go over here and die. Please, let's not be ridiculous.
Every day we read in magazines people who were very obese and they finally lost weight because they went to the gym and they had a real will. And
if you look at longitudinal studies of those people, you know, most of them 2 years later. If you look at, for instance, the television program The Biggest Loser, and track those people a few years later, these are people who have lost weight, but in the most high-stakes way possible, right? They've done it on national television with every resource behind them, you know, full-time stay at a ranch dedicated to fitness and weight loss. And many of those people have regained the weight.
I'm 20 pounds overweight, you know. And you know why? It's because I don't eat well. I don't eat well, that's why I know it. And if I cut bread and if I cut desserts and if I drink less alcohol, I would lose weight, that's it. I mean, it's not magic, you know, it's...
Sure.
Well,
it's basically
you know, there might be a difference between losing 20 pounds with a person who has, you know, an undamaged metabolism and then somebody who has to lose 100 pounds.
It's not a coincidence. The United States is the country where you have the most fat people. You go to restaurants and the portions are much too big, the plates are big, and everything is fried. And, you know, I mean, no wonder people are fat in the United States.
You know, what I bring into the plate, that's my business, not anybody else's. Do you know what I mean? So even for yourself, that you feel that you have to do this, like, oh, well, if I do this and if I do that, that's your business. It doesn't, as long as you don't tell me or interfere with me and what I'm trying to do, and I think it's a very American thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the pursuit of happiness. Whatever I need to do to make myself happy, and you need to do for yourself to make yourself happy, awesome. Go to town, knock yourself out, write a blog, put it on TV.